Hi, I'm Rich Kuchman with Strategic Self-Reliance and Defense, and in today's video I'm going to cover the secondary assessment, or what we call the focused assessment. In a previous video we've talked about the primary assessment, the ABCDE approach, and today's the secondary assessment. So the secondary assessment, as you can imagine, follows the primary assessment. Um, the goal of the primary assessment, of course, is to find and treat life-threatening injuries. The goal of the secondary assessment is to find any other injuries that may need to be treated, injuries or illnesses or problems that may need to be addressed. Now, the secondary assessment does not take place until after the primary assessment is completed. So what that means is you may never get to the secondary assessment, and sometimes that's going to happen. If the patient has such massive injuries or such life-threatening injuries that you're involved in treating those the entire time, you'll never get into the secondary assessment. Before EMS arrives or you get to the hospital and the medical team takes over. Okay, so let's think about an example here. You find somebody whose heart has stopped or they're not breathing, and you're providing basic life support. You're providing CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Well, you can't stop CPR to go on to the secondary assessment. CPR is part of the primary assessment. It's treating life-threatening injuries. So you'll never get to the secondary assessment, and that's okay. But once you've moved through the primary assessment, you found and treated life-threatening injuries. Again, previous video talks about those, how we approach the primary, the A, B, C, D, E, airway, breathing, circulation, disability or deficit, depending on which algorithm you use, and then exposure or environment. So the secondary assessment takes place after the primary. It's a systematic approach to find any other injuries or illnesses. Okay, a systematic approach. Now, what the secondary assessment includes, it's a few different pieces, parts. Okay, there's the chief complaint. There's the sample history, and we're going to cover each of these pieces in a separate video. So these are meant to be short and sweet videos, right? Just something to kind of whet your appetite. All right, so secondary assessment, chief complaint, sample history, the physical exam, which is really the heart and soul of it, and then vital signs. Okay, and again, we're going to cover each component in a separate video. This is kind of just to introduce the topic. Secondary assessment follows the primary after life-threatening injuries. Secondary assessment is meant to find anything else, and then you can treat those accordingly. And all that information put together, the primary and the secondary, is going to tell you what's going on, what you need to do, and how quickly you need to evacuate that patient. All right, so until the next video, again, I'm Rich Kuchma with Strategic Self-Reliance and Defense. Hope to see you in class.